In the small town of Newa, nestled in the lush hills of Haiti's northern region of Haut-Limbe, a young boy named Jean-Baptiste was born into a lineage of Vodou practitioners. From the moment he drew his first breath, there was an undeniable air of mysticism that surrounded him, a palpable connection to the spiritual realm that would one day shape the course of his life and the lives of his family. As Jean-Baptiste grew, his parents, Alphonse and Céleste, marveled at the child's innate sensitivity to the unseen forces that permeated their world. He would often gaze into the distance, his eyes seemingly fixed on something beyond the physical plane, his small fingers tracing intricate patterns in the air as if communicating with unseen entities. One day, when Jean-Baptiste was just 8 years old, the family was gathered for their weekly Vodou ceremony, a time-honored tradition that united them in prayer and communion with the divine. As the rhythmic drums echoed through the humble dwelling, the young boy suddenly rose from his seat, his entire demeanor shifting as if possessed by a higher power. Céleste, Jean-Baptiste's mother, watched in awe as her son approached the central altar, his movements fluid and graceful, his eyes shining with an otherworldly light. Without a word, he knelt before the intricate arrangement of candles, talismans, and offerings, his hands moving with a practiced precision that belied his young age. The other family members held their breath, transfixed by the scene unfolding before them. Alphonse, Jean-Baptiste's father, a respected elder in the community, felt a surge of pride and trepidation, for he knew that his son had been chosen for a higher purpose, one that would test the very foundations of their faith. As the ceremony reached its climax, a small, delicate butterfly fluttered into the room, its iridescent wings catching the flickering light of the candles. The family watched in awe as the ethereal creature danced around Jean-Baptiste, seemingly drawn to the boy's radiant energy. Céleste gasped, her hand covering her mouth as she recognized the significance of the butterfly's appearance. In the Vodou tradition, the presence of a butterfly was a sign of divine intervention, a harbinger of a profound spiritual awakening. Alphonse, his eyes glistening with tears, approached his son and gently placed his hands on the boy's shoulders, his voice trembling with emotion. "My son," he whispered, "Yahweh has chosen you. You are the one who will guide our family, the one who will walk the path of the diviner and heal our people." Jean-Baptiste looked up at his father, his gaze unwavering, a serene acceptance etched upon his youthful features. In that moment, the family knew that their lives were about to change forever, for their beloved child had been anointed as the chosen one, a conduit between the physical and spiritual realms. As the butterfly continued its graceful dance, Jean-Baptiste rose to his feet, his small hands clasping those of his parents. A profound sense of purpose filled the air, and the family members gathered around him, their hearts swelling with a mixture of pride, reverence, and the weight of the responsibility that had been bestowed upon their youngest. In the days that followed, Jean-Baptiste's transformation was nothing short of remarkable. His once playful demeanor gave way to a deeper, more contemplative presence, as if the very essence of his being had been altered by the divine encounter. He spent hours in quiet contemplation, communing with the spirits and studying the ancient texts that detailed the practices of the Vodou diviners. Alphonse and Céleste watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation as their son's gifts began to manifest. Jean-Baptiste's ability to sense impending events, to discern the needs of the family and community, and to provide natural remedies that seemed to defy the laws of modern medicine, quickly earned him a reputation as a remarkable healer and seer. The butterfly, a symbol of the divine, continued to appear at pivotal moments, guiding Jean-Baptiste and his family through the trials and tribulations that life presented. Whether it was a sudden illness, a family conflict, or a looming disaster, the ethereal creature would flutter into their lives, signaling the arrival of the young diviner and the wisdom he possessed. As Jean-Baptiste grew into a young man, the family's reverence for him deepened, and the community began to seek his counsel and guidance. Alphonse and Céleste, their hearts filled with both pride and a profound sense of responsibility, knew that their son had been chosen for a higher purpose, to serve as the diviner, the conduit between the physical and spiritual realms, and to preserve the timeless traditions of their Vodou heritage. In the quiet moments, when the butterfly had departed and the family gathered around their humble hearth, Jean-Baptiste would reflect on the weight of his calling, his eyes shining with a wisdom that belied his years. He knew that the path before him was not an easy one, but he was determined to fulfill his divine purpose, to be the guiding light that would steer his family and community through the ever-changing tides of life.
The butterfly's message. The morning sun had barely crested the horizon when the first delicate flutter caught Jean-Baptiste's eye. A lone butterfly, its iridescent wings shimmering in the soft light, danced across the yard, beckoning him to follow. Instinctively, he knew this was no ordinary occurrence. The butterfly was a messenger, a harbinger of a divine message from Yahweh. Leaving his breakfast untouched, Jean-Baptiste hastened to the home of his eldest daughter, Adeline. As he approached the small, thatched-roof dwelling, he spotted more butterflies, their numbers steadily increasing, creating a mesmerizing cloud of ethereal beauty. His heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation, for he understood the gravity of these celestial signs. Adeline greeted him at the door, her brow furrowed with concern. "Father, what is the meaning of this? The butterflies, they seem to be calling you here." Jean-Baptiste placed a weathered hand on her shoulder, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of a lifetime spent in service to his family and community. "My child, Yahweh has sent me to you. There is a matter that requires my attention." Adeline nodded, her faith in her father's divine gifts unwavering. She led him to the bedside of her young son, Etienne, who lay listless and feverish, his skin glistening with sweat. Jean-Baptiste's brow furrowed as he examined the child, his fingers tracing the contours of Etienne's face, his pulse, and the swollen lymph nodes. "This is no ordinary illness," Jean-Baptiste murmured, his voice tinged with a sense of urgency. "The spirits have warned me of a dark force at work. But fear not, my child, for I have been chosen to protect our family." Adeline watched in awe as her father retrieved a small leather pouch from his robes, its contents a closely guarded secret. With nimble fingers, Jean-Baptiste began to grind and mix a blend of fragrant herbs and roots, his eyes closed in deep concentration. The air in the room grew thick with the earthy scents of the natural remedies, and Adeline felt a sense of calm wash over her. As Jean-Baptiste applied the poultice to Etienne's forehead, the butterflies that had been fluttering around the room began to settle, their wings folding in a synchronous rhythm. Adeline held her breath, her faith in her father's abilities unwavering. In the hours that followed, Jean-Baptiste tended to Etienne, administering a series of herbal tinctures and prayers. Slowly, the fever began to subside, and the boy's breathing eased. Adeline watched in wonder as the color returned to Etienne's cheeks, the transformation unfolding before her eyes. When Etienne finally opened his eyes, he gazed up at his grandfather with a look of awe and reverence. "Grandpapa, the butterflies came to you. They told you I was sick, didn't they?" Jean-Baptiste nodded, a gentle smile spreading across his weathered face. "Yes, my child, the butterflies are the messengers of Yahweh. They have shown me the path to your healing." Adeline embraced her son, tears of relief streaming down her face. "Oh, Etienne, you are blessed to have such a grandfather. His connection to the divine is a true gift." The news of Etienne's miraculous recovery spread quickly through the small community, and soon, Jean-Baptiste found himself sought after by other families, each with their own ailments and concerns. At first, the skeptics in the village eyed him with suspicion, questioning the validity of his divine gifts. But as Jean-Baptiste continued to demonstrate his uncanny ability to diagnose and treat a wide range of maladies, the doubters gradually became believers. One by one, the villagers came to Jean-Baptiste, seeking his guidance and wisdom. Whether it was a sudden outbreak of a mysterious illness, a family feud that threatened to tear the community apart, or a looming natural disaster, Jean-Baptiste always seemed to know what was needed, his intuition guided by the fluttering butterflies that appeared at the most crucial moments. As Jean-Baptiste's reputation as a healer and diviner grew, his family members marveled at the depth of his connection to the spiritual realm. They watched in awe as he prepared intricate herbal concoctions, blending roots, leaves, and flowers with a practiced hand, his eyes closed in deep concentration. The family's faith in Yahweh and the Vodou traditions they had inherited deepened, their reverence for Jean-Baptiste's role as the chosen diviner solidifying with each successful intervention. In the quiet moments between his duties, Jean-Baptiste would reflect on the weight of his responsibility, the burden of being the conduit between the physical and spiritual worlds. He knew that his gift was not just a personal blessing, but a sacred trust that he had been charged to uphold for the sake of his family and community. With unwavering determination, he committed himself to honing his skills, learning from the elders and delving deeper into the ancient texts and rituals that had been passed down through generations. The family's reliance on Jean-Baptiste's divination and healing powers only grew stronger with time, as he continued to guide them through the trials and tribulations of life. Whenever the butterflies appeared, the household would fall silent, all eyes turning to the patriarch, waiting with bated breath for his interpretation of the divine message. And Jean-Baptiste, with a steadfast heart and a lifetime of experience, would rise to the occasion, ready to confront the challenges that lay ahead.